Welcome to NASCAR Coast to Coast here on the Motor Racing Network, presented by Whelen Engineering and also brought to you by Hercules Tire. I'm Hannah Newhouse, joined by my co-host Kyle Rickey, and it's almost summer here in the Carolinas. It's starting to heat up, and racing is in full swing, not only here in the States, but now across the pond as the NASCAR Euro Series finally kicked off their season out in Valencia, Spain at Circuit Ricardo Tomo, where again they do have two race days each weekend, and the number 7 for Hendrick Motorsports, not the Hendrick here, Hendrick with a K on the end, ended up in victory lane for all 4 races, Kyle.
It was a good weekend to be a part of a team with Hendrick involved.
Yeah.
Different Hendrick Motorsports, no doubt, over there, but Loris Haseman sweeping the weekend there in the Whelen Euro Series Pro Division, held off Nicole Roca and Gianmarco Ercoli in race number 1. Ercoli finished second in race 2, and Sebastian Bleekmolen rounded out the top 3 in race number 2. So good start, good field. I believe they had 30 cars take the green flag on both days. Loris Haseman now the championship point leader by 11 over Ercoli, as the series now has some time off before they go to the Czech Republic and the Autodrome Most, June 19th and 20th. Love watching that series and love that it's able to be streamed on social media platforms over here in the U.S.
Yeah, and again, it's such a unique format, too. Again, we talked about Loris Haseman with 2 wins, but his car and his team actually got 4 wins in total. Again, the Euro 2 Series, they run the same car as the Pro Series, and so his teammate of Martin Dubeck won both their Euro 2 races, both events there. And pretty cool for Haseman. He won this race in 2019, swept the weekend, was able to do so again, and he's only 1 win away from tying 2-time champion Anthony Kupin for being the 4th overall winner in the NASCAR Euro Series. So again, like you said, it's an exciting series to watch. I'm glad we're able to watch it here stateside and keep track of everything. We'll talk a little bit more about the modifieds that were at Riverhead this past weekend, as well as ARCA East at Dover. But over the weekend or the last week, NASCAR updated their Advanced Auto Parts Weekly Series division standings. And we'll talk about the Division 1 a little bit later, but right now, Division 2, atop of that leaderboard right now, is a name that might throw some people off, because if you follow Open Wheel, you know the name of Kody Swanson, but right now he sits atop the Division 2 leaders with late model points from New Smyrna Speedway.
Yeah, he was the Pro Late Model champion there during the 10 nights of racing at New Smyrna back in February, and that is a Division 2 series, a Division 2 division, if that makes sense, at New Smyrna. And because of those wins and the high car count that they attracted during the month of February, he is the early leader in Division 2 in the NASCAR Advanced Auto Parts Weekly Series.
Yeah, pretty interesting to see, again, him kind of starting to dabble in the stock car world after, again, being primarily open wheel, and he's had some adventures over the years with that. So we're going to have him on here in a little bit to talk about why he's decided to come stock car racing now and maybe what his 2021 has in store. So we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll got Kody Swanson dialed up here on Coast to Coast.
Whelen Engineering, a global leader in the emergency warning industry, designs and manufactures reliable and powerful warning lights. Whelen also produces white illumination lighting, sirens, controllers, and high-powered warning systems for automotive, aviation, and mass notification industries worldwide. Every part of every Whelen product is proudly designed and manufactured in America and is tested on-site to meet the toughest industry certifications. Whelen Engineering, a global leader in the emergency warning industry, trusted to perform since 1952.
Citywide to countryside, whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules has the value, selection, and industry-leading warranty to get you there no matter where the road takes you. Go to HerculesTires.com. There you can find the nearest authorized Hercules retail location to you. Plus, you can use the tire tracker to find out which Hercules tire fits your vehicle the best. That's HerculesTires.com. Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength.
Welcome back to NASCAR Coast to Coast here on the Motor Racing Network. Before we talk to Kody Swanson, we want to send a congratulations out to Berlin Raceway. They won that Advance My Track competition and were awarded $50,000 for track advancements. And again, thanks to Advance Auto Parts for putting this together, because they also helped out our second and third place finishers of New Hampshire's Hudson Speedway with $15,000, and of course Alaska Raceway Park for $10,000. So again, congratulations to those tracks. Looking forward to seeing what they put that money to use and getting their gates open. I know Alaska is getting ready to open theirs here shortly. But without further ado, we've got Kody Swanson joining us here to talk about stock car racing, probably a little bit more so than some open wheel. First off, Kody, thanks for taking some time to join us.
Yeah, hey, I certainly appreciate the chance to be on the show.
Now, we just had NASCAR release recently the Division II points championship standing so far. You're atop that there. Does this change? Well, before we get into that, I want to know, we talked about it before the show, your name's synonymous with open wheel racing, with sprint cars, Silver Crown cars, but you're sitting atop the standings in a stock car. What has this thought process and conversation been like really over the last 2 years of, hey, I want to go stock car racing?
Yeah, I mean, it's something I've wanted to do and to try to break into, but it's tough to make that leap. Tough to find the right people to do it with, and even the opportunity. So, fortunate to have gotten started a little bit here and enjoying every minute of it and learning the new challenges and trying to learn what it takes to be successful in stock cars as well.
What brought you to the stock car world? Obviously, a lot of the success that we're talking about and we'll talk about today came at New Smyrna back in February, winning that Pro Late Model Championship. But what led you down this path after, as Hannah mentioned, having so much success on the USAC side of things?
Yeah, I mean, I've always wanted to try to reach the highest levels of our sport, whether that's the Indianapolis 500 or the NASCAR Cup Series, right? So, the stock car route, and I followed the road to Indy route a little bit and tried to pursue whatever opportunities I had in either direction, and got a chance to make an ARCA start for Chad Bryant, someone who's kind of become a friend over the last few years, and see him at the races. We had a lot of companion shows with Silver Crown and the ARCA series. And after I ran that race, it's like there's so many little things I don't know just from not running fendered cars, where my right side is, how much room to leave. And I didn't want to get myself in trouble, and I really left too much on the table to have a good run. And so moving forward from that, I got to run his late model stock at Hickory a couple of times, and it seems like it's been so great to learn all those little things to just try to get better. And that kind of led me to really wanting to pursue stock cars in whatever capacity. So if something ever came up bigger in the future, I'd want to be better prepared and want to do a better job. So just trying to take advantage of a chance to gain some experience.
I think we ran into you at Hickory last summer. Of course, I was with Dylan, and we had a conversation with you, and you said, this is all so new to me, and I am dying to get Dylan in a stock car consistently just so he can have that learning curve as well. But you talked about finding the right side. Obviously, you can't see it as well with those fenders. What were also some of the biggest learning curves you've got pavement experience, obviously, but what was some of the hardest learning curves of going stock car racing?
Yeah, I mean, just knowing where your car is. I mean, right now, I can't see any of my corners on a Silver Crown car, but I've done it enough that I know where the right front tire is, and know where the left front is, and I just have that spatial awareness. And you sit so differently, and the controls, everything from like the way you sit and the way your legs are and the way the pedals work is different. So just that spatial awareness makes a huge difference in traffic. And after Iowa, I watched the replay of the race, and it's like, man, on the straightaways, I'm giving them, 6 feet to my outside. And I'm thinking you can't be doing that. And I had no idea. So between that and how the suspension works is so much different than what you need out of your race car is different. What's normal, and I expect a normal feel, and what I need to make changes in the Silver Crown car to make it faster or to make it better. I just don't know what that is yet. So it's been fun to try to develop that and have good people around me to help fill in the gaps and try to make me better at what I'm feeling, what's normal, and what is something we need to work on.
You won in the stock car recently at Salem, super late model. I believe it was an ARCA CRA Super Series event. Same racetrack. You have found so much success in the USAC Silver Crown car over the years. I mean, do they even compare? And how much of the stock car win came with just knowing the racetrack?
I felt like it helped, certainly. The ARCA CRA series hasn't raced there a bunch lately.
Yep.
And, I've at least been there once a year the last few. And Salem is kind of a tricky place, and it's kind of mean, and it's kind of rough, and it has a lot of character to it. So it was nice because it was the first stock car race I'd ran at a track that I'd been to before. Last year at Hickory, that was the first time I'd been there. And then down at New Smyrna in February, obviously had never raced there yet. So it was nice to be somewhere that I'd been. And I do think that experience helped. I know that Salem's hard on tires, and that you have to make sure to take care of your equipment there. And I felt like that we qualified quick time, so I knew we had speed in the car. And early in the race, maybe I didn't necessarily like the way it was acting or how hard I had to push to make speed. So we didn't necessarily. And as the race played on and the car came to us, so did the rest of the field, and gave us a chance to compete for the win there at the end.
Speaking of speed weeks at New Smyrna, you've participated in racing stints such as Indiana Midget Week, where they do go racing multiple nights. But Speed Week's kind of a exclusive event here in the stock car world of going racing so many nights in a row. Talk about your experience in being at New Smyrna, racing all those nights, the attrition that comes with it, and ultimately how tough that is, not only on the driver and the equipment, but also the crew.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely a challenge for sure, and it's hard. It's hard being at the same track every day because there's no fresh start really. And the whole intent of going down there was great to get connected with Team Platinum. And I think kind of the hope was that maybe for that many nights in a row, hopefully I could catch on, to what stock cars are supposed to be driven like, and learn some of those lessons, getting that amount of experience in such a short amount of time. And it's tough, and it's hard on the crew and hard on everybody involved because of the effort put in. And there was a couple nights I got involved in a skirmish in the super and staying up late and picking up pizza and bringing it back and trying to work with the guys to keep morale up, to keep going, because we were learning a lot. And so certainly appreciate the chance to have done it, and doing it with the right people makes a lot of fun. But it's a challenge even when it's going well, just to have that many days in a row. And pretty soon they start to run together, and you're talking about changes. And for me, trying to learn so much about the cars, and it's like, what change do we make what day, and trying to piece it back together by the time we get to the end of the week was tough, but definitely a lot of fun. I felt like I learned a lot, and appreciate the chance to do it with Team Platinum.
Yeah, you're there for so long, so much going on. Are you able to stop and watch some of the other divisions, and maybe watch the modifieds? Maybe you probably never, haven't really seen modifieds out much in the Midwest, or the super late models. I mean, there was so much that happened there over the course of a week. Are you able to maybe learn about some of the other divisions that run down there during the week?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit. And actually, before I got into sprint cars, I drove an IMCA modified on the pavement in California. It's been more than 15 years ago now, but certainly watched the modifieds, being that our Team Platinum had Bill Burba driving, and he won the modified championship there at Speed Week. So everyone, and me included, and everyone on the team had a lot of interest in how well Bill was doing, and keeping tabs on him. So it was fun to see all the different divisions. It was really neat to see the tour mods up close. That was something I've kind of always thought would be neat. Maybe they're a neat blend between super late models and Silver Crown cars. I know the tires look good, look big and wide, but that's something that looks a little more familiar to me. So it was a great experience to be down there for Speed Weeks.
Well, maybe one of these days you'll have to piece together an opportunity to race one of those, because I agree with you. Those are some cool looking race cars, and they're awfully fun to watch as well. But
Bobby Santos could hook them up.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, absolutely. He does a great job in those and in everything we have to race against him. He's always a tough competitor.
Bobby Santos, definitely a good dude. One of the things too that I wanted to talk about, today we record this show on a Tuesday. You're supposed to be at Winchester. Unfortunately, rained out. Your schedule consistently seems to be a little bit all over the place. What does it look like right now for 2021? And does seeing your name atop the Division II points lead right now change any of that moving forward, as far as some more pavement starts or late model starts?
I mean, to be honest, I didn't know anything about Division II, or that we were in it till I got a notification from it. So I'm familiar with the NASCAR national point standings, because we were at Hickory, like you said, last summer. Josh Berry and Ryan Millington were in a battle for the top of the Division I standings. So it was neat to see that. I don't know. I guess I don't know that much about Division II to know where the races are that qualify up here in the Midwest. I know we do have a lot on the schedule for Team Platinum, and trying to run not only super late model and pro late model races, but just kind of picking and choosing and trying to fit what everyone's schedule is, between the crew and all they have going on and what I'm already committed for open wheel wise. So I'm excited. I know we're, postponed here the first part of this week, but we're still planning on hitting a super late model race at Berlin over the weekend before we go full blown open wheel next week with the week of Indy.
Now, that was going to be my next question for you is what's the rest of the month of May look like for you? Because you have a busy next week and a half or so leading up to the 73rd annual Little 500.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm actually I'm at the pavement midget shop. Jerome Rodella has a great car, and got a chance to practice it and get familiar with it a little bit earlier in the month. And so after we run super late miles at Berlin this weekend, we're at Anderson for Little 500 with practice, and then qualifying on Thursday for pole day. Friday night we're at Lucas Oil Raceway for the Carb Night Classic with their champion midgets and the USAC Silver Crown Series. So doubleheader that night, and then we follow it up the very next night with 500 laps there at Anderson Speedway.
Yeah, definitely a busy month for you. And I kind of have a final question here that kind of tags on with the Little 500 as well as Carb Night Classic. We're kind of seeing a little bit of a revival over there in pavement midget racing and just pavements coming back. Is that something that excites you as someone who competes in those when you can? Because for a while, I feel like we've been primarily just dirt midget racing in the Midwest, and we're starting to see these tracks like IRP. Anderson, I believe, right, is one of them that's having pavement midget races this year. Does that excite you to see those schedules really start to come back together?
Yeah, absolutely. I moved to the Midwest to race pavement open wheel cars, midgets and sprint cars and Silver Crown. And when sprint cars and midgets kind of went to dirt only, it became tough for a pavement specialist to get a ride. So fortunate, through Silver Crown, still having run both to get a little dirt experience and to try to convert just to keep a career going here in the Midwest. So I'm excited that pavement's coming back. I mean, that's the stuff that I really love racing and feel like it is my comfort zone and that I just enjoy the chance to compete for sure. So thankful for Anderson Speedway kept sprint cars alive really with the Little 500, and great to see sprint cars coming back and the commitment that Casey Kohler and Lucas Oil Raceway have made. They put together some big events last year in the middle of all that mess and gave us a great pavement midget race and a big pavement sprint car race outside of Anderson Speedway there at Lucas Oil to really kick things back off. So I'm excited to see the commitment that both of them have made to continue making it better and look forward to a great summer.
Awesome. Well, Kody, again, thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to hang out with us. Good luck, not only over the rest of the month of May, but also the rest of the summer. We're looking forward to seeing where you pop up and race.
Yep. I certainly appreciate it. Thanks again for having me on.
Again, guys, that is Kody Swanson. Right now, current Division II points leader, but you can catch him all over the place, whether that is in late models, Silver Crown cars. You never know what racetrack he's going to show up to. But we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we've got your Whelen Engineering Modified Driver Spotlight.
Whelen Engineering, a global leader in the emergency warning industry, designs and manufactures reliable and powerful warning lights. Whelen also produces white illumination lighting, sirens, controllers, and high-powered warning systems for automotive, aviation, and mass notification industries worldwide. Every part of every Whelen product is proudly designed and manufactured in America and is tested on-site to meet the toughest industry certifications. Whelen Engineering, a global leader in the emergency warning industry, trusted to perform since 1952.
Sir, are you aware you were going 40 miles an hour? This is a residential area.
Sure, but I'm on my lawnmower? Wait, am I getting a ticket?
No, I've just never seen anyone top 9 miles an hour on one of those bad boys. And mow their entire lawn in 30 seconds? What got into you?
Well, I did fuel up at Sunoco this morning.
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. We've been doing it for American racing for over 50 years. Fuel your best.
Back here on NASCAR Coast to Coast on the Motor Racing Network, time for this week's Whelen Modified Driver Spotlight. And the first time here on this segment, we'll venture into the SK Light realm at the Stafford Motor Speedway. And one of the drivers, Nicole Chambrello, joins us now. Nicole, thanks for taking the time to join us here today.
Oh, no problem.
First off, I'm not a gearhead. I don't think there's a lot of fans out there that are gearheads, but an SK modified to an SK Light modified, they look alike. What's the biggest difference?
The biggest difference is probably the motor. We go about Yeah, I don't know. We go, I would say probably about 100 horsepower less. So we're, it's a slower motor. The I don't know, my dad does all that. So, I think the biggest difference is that we are slower, I don't know.
That's what I heard. The biggest difference is the power plant. Other than
Yeah,
that, the modified's modified, whether it be
yeah.
an SK or an SK Light. This is your second year into the SK Light modifieds, a couple races into the season now. How's it going for you and your team up at Stafford?
Pretty well. I mean, the first two races have been pretty crazy. We've avoided a lot of wrecks. I've so far put my car in the trailer straight every single time, and we're just, doing better and better every single week. I'm hoping to hopefully break the top 10 in the next couple weeks, so we'll see.
At top five a year ago in your rookie season,
Yeah.
so hoping to improve on that here this year, no doubt. Still early in the season. Let's go back to the beginning. What got you involved in motorsports? Obviously, your family, a staple in motorsports up here in the Northeast.
Yeah, so my uncle raced the SK division back in the 80s and early 90s, I think. So they've been in and out of Stafford for a while. I started in quarter midgets as a 9-year-old. I raced at Silver City in Meriden, and I did that for about 5 years until I moved up to the street stock division at Stafford in 2015. And then I raced that division for a few years, and now I'm in the light.
And challenged for and won several races in the street stock division at the Stafford Motor Speedway before making that move. Was the goal years ago always to end up in a modified?
No. So when I started, we knew that, I mean, the quarter midgets for like my family and whatever, it was pretty affordable to do for us. We knew that. We knew going to Stafford it was going to be a lot on our wallet. I personally didn't think that I was going to get to go there because, it's expensive. It's an expensive sport. Everybody knows that. So when we got the street stock, that to me was like a blessing. I was able to continue, further than I thought I could go. And then, along the way, we picked up some sponsors, and now I'm in the light because of them alone, So I think right now I'm just trying to have some fun. I'm trying to ride it out as long as possible and, see what it brings me.
The next logical move, if there is such a thing in short track racing, is the SK.
Yeah.
Is that maybe a goal down the road, or a tour mod, or where can this take you?
Yeah, no, if the opportunity presents itself, absolutely. I know with I just know where we're at right now. The light is kind of where things lie, it's all about money. So you never know. Like I said, we were able to move up from the street stocks to the light because some sponsors stepped up for us, and that was amazing. And if it happens again, possibly. I don't want to say that I'm not optimistic because I am, but I also, there's a reality to everything, and I'm having fun doing what I'm doing. And like I said, if the opportunity presents itself, maybe, you never know. But I'm just I'm just having fun. I don't know.
And that's what it's all about ultimately, is having fun at the racetrack. The fans of Stafford Speedway know that there's a lot of young ladies in the SK Light Modified. I think there's like 6 or 7 that are going to try to run full time this year. Why do you think that is in the SK Lights? But we don't see many in the late models. We don't see many ladies in the SKs. It seems like SK Lights are street stocks or limited late models in Fern's case.
Yeah, I don't know. I know like me, I know, Meg Fuller, even Fern, like we all started in the street stock division. I think it's just kind of preference. So I could be completely wrong, but I raced quarter midgets with Sammy Anderson, Cassandra Cole, and those cars are very similar to a light in driving style. So when I started in the street stock, it's a full fendered car, and it's a lot different of a driving style. I had to learn a completely different driving style to get into that car. So I think it's an easier transition from a lot of the like quarter midgets kind of thing. I don't know if that speaks for just the girls, or I mean, I feel like a lot of people, when they go to Stafford, they'll just enter right into the light just because it's an easier transition. Because that's what everybody told me when I moved up, that if I moved from a quarter midget to an SK light, it would have been a lot easier of a transition from, than the quarter midget to a street stock. So I don't know. It's I don't know.
And
That's
maybe
just my
that's why
best guess. It's an easier transition and I can speak for me and Cassandra Cole and Sammy Anderson, because we all raced together back when we were kids at Silver City. So.
And maybe that's why, because of that transition, there's like 35 SK lights at Stafford
Yeah,
every
there's
weekend.
tons.
And the only division that has consies on what has been a weekly basis, at least in the early part of this year.
Mm-hmm.
Who were some of the folks that you looked up to as a kid growing up and trying to get into the sport, whether it be on the national level or on the local level?
Honestly, like that's a good question. Because I kind of always just, not that I'd never looked up to anybody, but I think I just looked up to, looking at all of the Stafford drivers, everybody who made it to Stafford, I was like, that's super awesome. I went and I watched, and, I never had one person that I was just like completely, like obsessed with. It was always just like, they were all super, it was, they're when you're a kid and you're watching that and you're like, oh, I have the possibility to do this, but it's like Stafford feels like a bunch of celebrities, and that's kind of how I saw it. It was like every single driver out there, like as a kid, I was like, wow, they made it, like, and to think that, because I didn't think that I was going to go that far with it. I don't know if that answers your question, but that's kind of how I looked at it. It was like, all the modified, even like all the modified drivers, even the street stock drivers, it was like, this is something that I probably won't be able to achieve. And like, to me, like watching all of them out there is, insane. I don't know if that answers.
On the racetrack every Friday night, and we've been able to interview you in Victory Lane several times over the years. Let's put a button up on this with 2021, the outlook. We talked about the first few weeks. What's the ultimate goal when we get into the hot summer months here?
So the ultimate goal is to, break the top 10, maybe the top 5. We got a brand new motor in the car. So we're definitely up a lot of power from last year, because obviously we all know about my really crappy motor last year. So I think it's just going to be tuning the car, tuning my driving, avoiding wrecks, and, just doing my best. We're missing 2 races out of the season because of just family stuff. I have some family members getting married. So, it's not a lot. I'm not putting a lot of pressure. My team's not putting a lot of pressure on ourselves this season. It's just to learn, to get better, to have some fun. And then next year, take all of that knowledge and go for it.
Family first.
Yeah.
Always. Nicole, thanks for joining us here on NASCAR Coast to Coast, and best of luck to you the rest of the season. Nicole Chambrello, this week's Whelen Modified Driver Spotlight.
Whelen Engineering, a global leader in the emergency warning industry, designs and manufactures reliable and powerful warning lights. Whelen also produces white illumination lighting, sirens, controllers, and high-powered warning systems for automotive, aviation, and mass notification industries worldwide. Every part of every Whelen product is proudly designed and manufactured in America and is tested on-site to meet the toughest industry certifications. Whelen Engineering, a global leader in the emergency warning industry, trusted to perform since 1952.
Citywide to countryside, whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules has the value, selection, and industry-leading warranty to get you there no matter where the road takes you. Go to HerculesTires.com. There you can find the nearest authorized Hercules retail location to you. Plus, You can use the tire tracker to find out which Hercules tire fits your vehicle the best. That's HerculesTires.com. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength.
NASCAR was at Dover International Speedway over the weekend and brought with them the ARCA East Series. It would be Ty Gibbs, to no one's surprise, who captured the win over Josh Berry and David Gilliland. When you hear Ty Gibbs' interview, it basically just came down to making sure you had a right front at the end of that race. Obviously, some carnage throughout the race because of that. But again, Ty Gibbs with that win. Current point standings, Sammy Smith still leads point standings over Mason Diaz. Max Gutierrez, your top three in points. We talked about the modified tour at Riverhead this past weekend. Pretty cool win for Doug Kody to finally get that one done in his personal car over Patrick Emmerling, Justin Bonsignor, Kyle Bonsignor, and Woody Pitcat. Right now, points dead tie, Kyle, between Eric Goodale and Emmerling. Doug Kody is behind by 7 and Justin Bonsignor behind by 9. Their next race, they're not racing this weekend, but next weekend they will be at Jennerstown. And also, we talked about Division I points. Peyton Sellers currently sitting atop those Division I points. He's got 13 starts to the season with 6 wins thus far over Matthew Kimball, Todd Patnode, Landon Pemberton, and Matt Cox.
Yeah, Peyton Sellers, no doubt the guy to beat right now in Division I. Division II, we just talked to Kody Swanson, an 18-point lead with all those wins at New Smyrna over Terry Schultz, who predominantly races on dirt at Lakeside and Central Missouri Speedway. Connor Jones, 34 points back in third, another driver that showed well at New Smyrna back in February. Also, big win for Doug Kody, as you mentioned a moment ago, at Riverhead, finally winning in Justin Bonsignor's house on Saturday night there, as Justin has been so strong at Riverhead. Doug could never break through. I believe it's his first win there in his 20th start. So now we have to see if Justin can win in Doug's house later this year at the Stafford Speedway. Doug, a former pro stock and late model champion at the Stafford Motor Speedway. Justin has never won at the Stafford Speedway. So and it's been fun to watch those two on Twitter as well.
I was going to say, I feel like those two are a race within a race. Like they're halfway only aware of where the other one is just to make sure. Like it's a race within a race with those two, which is always 10 times more entertaining if you're clued into it. But again, we talked about the Euro Series opening up their season this past weekend. Well, it's now time for the Peak Mexico Series to open up their season this upcoming weekend at Tuxtla Gutierrez, Mexico. They'll have a 2-day weekend down there racing. And ARCA Menard Series back in action at Toledo for the Hers Potato Chip 200. The only one left to start their season is the Pinty Series, and we're still waiting. Obviously, they've got a lot of stuff still in flux north of the border, so a lot of stuff probably being shuffled around as we speak, so obviously waiting to hear more on those schedule announcements. Kyle, I have a feeling you've been to like 5 racetracks in the last at least been to a track 5 times, I feel like, in the last week. Every time I got on Facebook over the last 7 days, you were at the racetrack, whether it was the go-kart track, whether it was Stafford, and then I think you were back at Stafford for go-kart races. I mean,
yeah, Stafford has a Monday night program and a Friday night program.
The Aroots just need to rent you a portion of the booth. I feel like now that I've been up there, they could probably just put a nice little plaster wall and you could just live there. Yeah,
maybe one day. Maybe one day. It's nice to have all the tracks back up and running up here. Seekonk opened up in Massachusetts a couple of weeks ago, part of the NASCAR program, and Nanook Speedway's open. Waterford Speed Bowl runs 2 nights a week up here in Connecticut now, so it's just nice. Much different from where we were a year ago at this time, when there was a lot of unknown, and all these tracks were scrambling, just trying to figure out if they were going to have a season or not, and fortunately, most of them did. So, and the weather has finally turned up here. We went from 50 degrees one day to 80 degrees the next day. So, what spring?
Yeah, it's been beautiful here. Thank goodness. And it's about ready to get hot. I think it's supposed to be in the 80s and 90s over the next week. So not looking forward to that, but I'm off to Port Royal this weekend for my first race with World of Outlaw late models. Obviously, Kyle will find his way somewhere with a racetrack. We want to send a thank you to Kody Swanson again for joining us here on NASCAR Coast to Coast. Good luck to all of the drivers across the country racing, and fans, get out, support your local racetrack. We'll see you next week here on NASCAR Coast to Coast. I'm Hannah Newhouse for Kyle Rickey and producers Craig Moore and Alexa Henry, and we'll see you next week on NASCAR Coast to Coast.